What's up, guys? Tim Little. Welcome back to Tactical Bassin. Today's video, we are talking soft plastic jerk baits, fluke fishing, and why you need to be throwing them right now all the way through this fall transition. Let's go. We've been talking about the fall transition, and for the most part, most of the country is starting that transition. Some of us are a little bit farther ahead, some are a little bit farther behind, but right now, it's all about bait fish, and a fluke or a soft plastic jerk bait is one of the best baits to mimic those schools of fish. It doesn't matter if you're a pond fisherman in grass, if you're a topwater fisherman, or you're a highland reservoir fisherman chasing offshore schooling fish. Today's video, I'm gonna cover some tips and some tricks on rigging, and more importantly, how to fish them depending on the different situation you are in, the different type of fishery. Like I said, a grass fishery, an open water fishery. Everybody can apply a fluke to their fishing right now and catch more fish. So again, like I said, right now is all about bait fish. If you find the bait, you will find the bass. It doesn't matter the type of fishery you're in. These fish are starting to push those bait balls. The shad, your threadfin, your gizzard, your bluebacks, all those types of bait fish are starting to school up, and those fish are gonna be chasing them. So once you find the bait, you will find the bass. And once you find that, that's where these guys really shine. So I got some cool tips for you guys. Specialty rigging for you open water fishermen, specialty rigging and fishing for you structure or grass fishermen. It doesn't matter. Like I said, any type of fishery right now, a fluke, I guarantee you, needs to be in your arsenal. So like I said, all about the bait fish. We're mimicking bait fish. We are trying to take advantage of those fish schooling up on the bait. So let's talk about rigging. If you guys have never seen a fluke or a soft plastic jerk bait rig before, I'm gonna show you the most basic rigging, and then we'll make it more tricky and advanced from there. So what we have here is, this is the Zoom Super Fluke. Had these in my arsenal for a long time. The package is starting to get faded. This is the Super Fluke. So I have this rigged right there on a offset worm hook. Now you can rig it on a Superline hook, a 3 or a 4/0 EWG Superline hook, a 2X hook. An owner makes a really good hook, depending on the depth that your fish are in. So we'll cover that right now just because it'll probably come up more than once in this video. So to show you guys how it's rigged, you rig this down through, I guess I should have showed you. You rig this into the head. Now depending on the depth that you want to fish this, the farther forward this hook is, the more dive angle this bait's gonna have, and it's gonna get down quicker. So the purpose of this bait, or where this bait shines, is when you're ripping it like you would a traditional jerk bait, this thing is dancing all over the place. It looks like a frantic bait fish. And then when you kill it, it just slowly falls. So the more weight towards the forward of the bait, the faster it's gonna fall and spiral down. If you have more weight in the belly, it's just gonna kinda hover and fall like that. It's gonna fall less quickly. So if you're on topwater schooling fish, that might be something you want to pay attention to. We'll talk about that here shortly. So again, take your favorite worm hook, thread it through. You can come right out I'm gonna call that the neck of the bait, pop it through, pull it all the way back through like that, and then just rig it back into itself. And now you have a completely weedless jerkbait. So as you can see on this rod right here, I have this rigged, give him a little more line. I have this rigged straight braid. So you pond fishermen or you topwater frog fishermen that want to add a little different look to the fish that you're fishing for. We'll talk about how to fish this really quickly on the surface so it's skipping and looks like a frantic bait fish dancing and jumping out of the water. But that is how you rig it. After I show you guys how to rig these different ways, we'll throw the camera up, I'll jump up, and I will show you how to fish each one a little differently and more effectively depending on the type of fish you're going after. So that is a soft plastic jerkbait. That is how you rig it. Now in the past, we have done multiple videos on nose rigging. Sorry guys, dropped the rod. On nose rigging exposed hook on that soft plastic jerkbait. Now the benefit of this, now you have that exposed hook. Those fish come up and just suck that bait in. You lean back on them with a little bit of pressure. That little hook is gonna get them. Rig the other way, the Texas rig way, you're gonna have to really drive that hook home and get that hook to penetrate through that fluke and into that fish's mouth. But this is a really cool way to rig it. We've done tons of underwater videos with fish eating them. I'll show you how to rig that real quick. All you're gonna need, some owner centering pins. Pull one of these out for you guys. So you're gonna need your owner centering pin and the face of your fluke. So you're gonna put this right in the face. Again, we've done multiple videos on this, so I'm not gonna spend too much time talking about how to rig, because more importantly, guys, I wanna show you when and how to fish them. So you're gonna spin that all the way into the face of that bait. And I actually like to get one more twist so that thing completely in the bait. Now you're gonna take your favorite drop shot or Nico rig hook, I'll link my favorites down below, and you're gonna run that hook right through the front of that bait, through the hook of the centering pin. Now you have a bait that is on there on that centering pin and an exposed hook. Where this really shines, I like to throw it on light line. 6, 8, 10-pound test on a spinning rod, something I could launch out there and then let it fall. You know, you spotted bass fishermen, or you guys that are on those fish that are chasing offshore school, you know, shad or your herring lakes, that sort of stuff, this technique is money. So that is how you rig this guy right here. Again, kind of blew through it, but I'll link all the products down below in the video description. You guys can go back and watch it again and see how you want to rig it depending on the types of fish you're going after. Again, I love throwing the exposed hook on spotted bass and smallmouth and largemouth. If I'm fishing in and around cover or through grass, I love going with that Texas rig. One other thing you can do, play around with the wire diameter of your hook. Go with a 2X hook or a super line hook to add more weight to get more fall to your bait. So if you're fishing a little bit deeper, or you want to fish a little bit quicker and get that bait down, play around with different thickness gauge wire on your hook. So thicker, more stout hooks. So now that we've talked about that, we've talked about the Texas rig, we've talked about the exposed hook, let's talk real quickly about the donkey rig. Now I have two different ways that I rig it. Just like you thought in the beginning, Texas rig and exposed, I do the same thing with the donkey rig. Now those of you guys that are familiar, you guys can fast forward. Those of you that aren't familiar, I will show you real quickly how to rig this. But again, we're talking about schooling fish, and later on, probably in a few weeks, we'll do a more in-depth how to target schooling fish. Today I just want to do a real in-depth rigging on the fluke and how to fish them, because it is probably it's in my top 3 this time of the year all the way through till the beginning of the winter transition. But we're talking about schooling fish, so what is better than catching one fish? Catching 2 at a time. So how I rig this, now there's probably some different ways, but I can't grab my line. I have my main line. That is 40 or 50-pound braid, depending on where I'm fishing and how big a fish I am going after. The very first thing I do, I put a bobber stop on my main line. So this is gonna slide up and down, okay? I am gonna take a Spro Power Swivel. I believe this is size 4, sorry. Size 4, 130 pound test. Size 4, you're gonna need 2 of those. You're gonna tie one directly to your main line. So I'll do this in order. So the first thing you do, bobber stop on your main line. Second thing you do, take a swivel and put the line through it, so it's gonna run up and down, and then you're gonna tie a second swivel on your main line. So you have one tied and one free sliding. Okay, you with me there? Now this is where you're gonna tie your leaders to your 2 baits. Now again, we're talking bait fish. It's all about bait fish, especially when they're blowing up on top or they're chasing a ball of bait up shallow in the grass. When you can get 2 baits out there, it is so much fun when you can double up on bass. So, couple tricks for you. My main line, I run it anywhere from 2.5 to 3 feet or so. It's gonna be a little bit longer than the second line. Now the second line is going to be about 18 inches. You don't want both these baits back there in the same spot parallel. You want one a little deeper, one up forward, and these things, as you're jerking that rod, twitch, 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 getting that thing dancing all over the place, those baits are at different levels and they're at different positions, forward and back. So they're dancing and going all over the place. And when you get those fish coming up schooling, and it is so much fun when you can catch them 2 at a time. Couple tricks for you to keep the baits separate. Again, you don't want them running side by side. You want them spaced out a little bit. I run a little heavier hook on my farthest back bait. So the bait that's off my main line, that is going to be some kind of Superline 4/0 hook. Next bait is going to be, that's the one that's sliding up and down the line, free sliding on that swivel. That's going to be a 3/0 hook. Now you can even go, it's all up to the imagination, guys. You can even go with a smaller bait fish up top. Smaller bait. Just keep that bait out of the way of the larger bottom one. Typically it's that slower, farther back one that gets eaten first. And when you hook up and you're reeling that fish, and then you can feel, oh, and then I got 2. So don't give up. If you hook one, get ready to fight that second fish, and use a tip for you, use light drag, because sometimes, worst case scenario, those fish go in different directions, right? Now they're pulling against your leader line. I typically do 15 to 20 pound leader line depending on where I'm fishing. But now you have 2 fish pulling in opposite directions. That is absolute worst case scenario. But for the most part, you know, you're reeling them in and they're coming in. So that is how I do it with the donkey rig that I'm fishing typically for largemouth. Now this is where it gets cool, guys. We haven't talked about this before. I love doing this same thing, but on a spinning rod, light lined in Clearwater Highland reservoirs. Same thing, you're gonna run your bobber stop up on the main line. Now the whole purpose of this bobber stop is so when you go to cast, that line, the second line, the shorter line that's running up and down free sliding, you don't want that sliding all the way up your line on your cast, because then your baits are like 15 feet apart and you can't get any distance on your cast. The benefit with the spinning rod and light line, you can get a lot of distance. So I usually give it about, I don't know, 2 to 3 inches or so. Again, I got my free sliding power swivel and then my swivel on my main line. But check this out, guys. I went ahead and rigged both of them with the exposed hook. Where this shines, guys, light line, clear water, spotted bass blowing up in deep water. So when you're fishing, you're fishing out off a point or whatever, and they come up schooling and they're on that ball of bait, you pick up that double fluke rig, the donkey rig, and you fire that out there. I work this bait very quickly on the surface because it looks like sporadic bait fishing. I'm going to jump up here shortly and show you, but with the exposed hook, you don't have to. The hardest thing with the double rig on the Texas rig is getting that second hook set, right? The first one, you set them and you're good. But as you're fighting, another fish eats it, it's really hard to set again. With the exposed hook, you don't have to. You load up and you use that fish that's pulling against you, and that other fish eats it, it pulls against it. That's what sets the hook. So you have that exposed hook. You don't have to really jack them twice. But I really like throwing this bait on the surface. So I have two different baits skipping and dancing and fleeing that ball of bass that's coming up to eat. I've seen schools, 20, 30, 50 fish at a time coming up and eating bait. Now you're in there with two different baits. Now you're catching 2, 3, 4 pound spots, 2 at a time, and it is awesome. So we talked about rigging. We talked about the different types of hooks and how you can play around with all that to adjust the fall and the depth of your bait. One other tip you can do, if you really want to get your fluke down, you can take your favorite lead nail weight. Don't do tungsten, do lead. It can get really expensive with tungsten. And just put a little bit of weight in the belly of the head, or the head below, and that will allow that bait to get down. If you want to do it on the bottom bait, not the top bait, to give more separation, that helps too. But if you want to fish this a little bit deeper, 15, 20 feet, go ahead and add a little bit of weight in the head, and you can get down deeper and really get that double fluke rig working down at deeper depths. So we talked about hooks, we talked about playing with that. Now let's throw the camera up here. I'll go through the different setups, and then you can pick which one you think will fish best in your fishery and how you can apply it to your fishing. All right, guys, let's talk about your basic single fluke. This is your single fluke rig. This could be on fluorocarbon, it could be braid to leader, or it could be straight braid like I have right here. Where I really like throwing this, pond fishing or back in grass, the same area that you guys throwing your big frogs, on your power fishing, your braided line, big power fishing setups. Try throwing the fluke. So again, I'm gonna keep this thing up. I'm moving it really quickly. I'm popping that rod tip. This thing's dancing all over the place. It's skipping, darting, diving. It looks like a fleeing bait fish. Once you get closer to the boat, then you can drop your rod tip and work it normal. I'll turn so you guys can see. So get that thing skipping right through that grass over the top. It looks like a fleeing bait fish trying to avoid whatever is chasing it. As you get closer, now you can twitch, 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 twitch. That thing is going all over the place. Some of the most violent blowups we've ever had have been fishing a fluke as a topwater. Again, I have that straight braid, 40, 50 pound braid tied to a super line or a jungle hook, and frog fishing, the same area that you'd be frog fishing, you can throw this guy right here. Now, if you're just, say you're fishing straight fluorocarbon and you're fishing around docks or trees or grass line, but you want that dying bait fish action, let it fall. Now again, hook placement, farther forward it's gonna dive faster, farther back it's gonna fall flatter. Hook placement's gonna adjust how that thing falls. The best fall you can have is that slow dying death spiral. If you can achieve that, that is the best fall. So say we're halfway down the water column, now it's just twitch, 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 let it fall. Watch my slack line. It's gonna be, sometimes they'll rip the rod out of your hand, they hit it so hard. A lot of times you'll feel the tick, just like a weightless stick bait bite. Twitch, 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 twitch. I mean, you can work it just like a jerkbait if you want. Twitch, 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 get real aggressive with it. But if you're fishing around a certain piece of cover, say it's a laydown or a dock piling, you know, get real erratic by that piece of structure and then kill it. Let it fall, and 9 times out of 10, that is when you will get bit. So that is your traditional soft plastic jerkbait rigged, Texas rigged. Now let's go with the single nosed hooked fluke. Again, now where this is going to come into play, it's going to have a real slow fall to it unless I go with a little bit of weight in that bait. Again, you don't really want to do a 2X or a Superline drop shot hook, right? Or a little nose hook hook. You want that fairly sharp, fairly small wire on your hook. So add a little bit of weight to the front if you need to. Again, you're gonna fish this the same way. You just lighter line, typically clear water. Spotted bass usually is where this comes into play. Again, let it fall to the desired depth, and then it's twitch, 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 let it fall. Twitch, twitch. You can get real long, slow pulls, or you can do the real twitch, twitch, real quick, short pulls. Totally up to you. So twitch, twitch, get that thing going all over the place, or you know, it totally depends on how your fish are acting. If they're up chasing and stuff, get going fast. Okay, so that is how you can fish that guy right there. Now again, if they're blowing up and this is what you got, get right in the middle of it and then get going. Get that thing up on the surface. Keep that rod tip up. If they eat it, you're gonna drop and then set, but get that thing skipping. Don't give them enough time to really look at it. Again, they're chasing fleeing bait fish. They will eat pretty much anything that's moving as long as it looks like the bait fish that they are chasing. If you find that your fish won't eat the larger size, then you can go smaller with that little fluke I was telling you about. Okay, so there's the singles. Now let's talk about the donkey rig and the doubles, because where this gets fun is when you can catch 2 fish at once. Okay, 2 different Texas rigged flukes. Okay, I got one sitting about 10 inches, a foot back from the shorter one. So this technique, I like a little longer rod, 7'4", 7'5", a typically heavy action. Again, I'm gonna hit them hard, and I'm gonna have to hit them again to get that second hook penetration. So get it out there. That longer rod helps with the longer casts. If you go longer leader, it gives you more room to play with your bobber stop, but it just makes it easier to cast the bait. So let it fall. I don't do rod tip up with this setup. This is gonna be a twitch, 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 let it fall, twitch, twitch. You're not gonna let this fall as much as you would if it was a single bait, because with the 2 baits coming together, then it just kind of looks like, doesn't look good. When you the true magic with this setup is getting those fish dancing and fleeing and going different directions, up, down, left, right, in and out, and getting those baits looking like a fleeing bait fish. So, oh, I had one. Ate it on the fall, had no idea. I went to twitch it and it pulled back. How cool is that? Got me. You guys can see this rig is so much fun if I was paying more attention to my line. So what happened as I let that bait fall, I was talking to you guys, wasn't paying attention. That fish ate it coming towards me, and when I went to twitch, I hit the weight of that fish and it pulled back. Didn't get good hook penetration. So I'll show you real quick again. Maybe I can catch that guy. Get out there, make a nice long cast. Again, if you're not after the schooling fish, then just fish your, target cast your areas. Schooling fish is a completely different story because they could be blown up over here and then over here and then right here and then behind you, so you got to be on it. But so twitch, 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 twitch. Get that thing dancing. Falling, falling, falling. Twitch, 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 twitch. I don't even have my trolling motor down. I'm just trying to teach you guys. I'm not even actually fishing, and now I kind of want to be fishing. So that right there, guys, that is the donkey rig. Okay? So we covered all that. Now I want to show you guys this setup. Where this setup shines, open water. The reason it's got to be open water is because I'm running like 8-pound fluorocarbon or 10-pound light line. So if you hook a big fish up near cover or structure, something that they can get tangled on, game over, you're done. So open water, again, we're talking the donkey rig, two baits rigged, but they're exposed hook. So when those schooling fish come up busting, you have seconds to get your bait in there and get working, because they're up for a few seconds and they shoot back down. And it could be 10 minutes, half an hour until they come up again. So you got to be on it. So they come up schooling, get out there, rod tip up, and then it's just twitch, 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 twitch. Hopefully you guys can see though, those baits are all over the surface, dancing around, knowing they're gonna die. And it is so cool when you see two or three, the more the better, but you can only hook two. When you see multiple fish come up and eat your baits at once, it is so cool, and you will never forget it, I promise you. So, again, get out there and be on it. Twitch, 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 twitch. You want to keep these things on the surface. You can go subsurface a little bit, but again, they have that bait pinned up to the surface, and they were schooling on it. They're blowing up on them. This is where you go with a shorter spinning rod. This is a Rochi Double X. I'll link some of my favorites down below in the video description. But I really like the shorter spinning rod for that twitching action. The longer the rod, the harder it is to keep it up and shake it and keep those baits up on the surface dancing. So on it, close that bail, and then just start twitching. Getting those fish dancing all over the place. As you get closer to the boat, then you can drop your rod tip and work it like a normal popper or jerkbait on a spinning rod. But again, the magic with this setup right here is when you get it on the surface. Guys, if this hasn't convinced you to throw or at least try a soft plastic jerkbait this time of the year, I'm sorry, because you guys are missing out. It is so much fun depending on the different types of fisheries. If you're a power fisherman in grass, try that Fluke on straight braid. Try popping it, skipping it across the surface, and you will have some of the biggest explosions you've ever seen. And when you can catch two at a time on schooling fish out on the surface, it is so much fun. Fall time, we have cooler nights. Those fish are just getting active. It's been summer. Hot water, low oxygen in the water. Now they're starting to get aggressive, and they are on the move. We'll talk about where these fish are going. We'll talk about how to catch more in-depth schooling fish. But guys, a soft plastic jerkbait, a Fluke, there's tons of different baits on the market, but I'll link my favorites down below in the video description. I'll link colors, hooks, all that stuff. Didn't want to overwhelm you with it right now, but down below I'll link all of it. But fish are eating bait. It's all about that bait. You can find that bait and you're on them when they're schooling. Those rigs will light it up for you guys. If you guys have any questions, please leave it down below. Leave them down below in the comment section. I will try to get to those as soon as possible. Hopefully this inspired you guys to get out. Fall time, it's beautiful out. Here we get those afternoon thunderstorms, but it's fall time. The fish are hungry. They want to eat. So make sure you're presenting the right bait this time of the year. Again, if you guys like this video, hit that like button. Remember to subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.